Let's all meet up in the year 2000. Won't it be strange when we're all fully grown? A rather large part of me is still in denial that the year 2000 was over 2 decades ago, but there it is. Faceball 2000 takes us back to a time when the prospect of entering an entirely new millennium was exciting. Space age, full of promise and futurism and things that were new and shiny. We were going to fly on hoverbikes, vacation on faraway planets, and physically interact with holograms. Sure, we're working on that last one, but really, the only amazing technological advancement that immediately springs to mind from where we were in 1991 is that you can now order a pizza online and it'll be at your house within 20 minutes. You don't even have to speak to anyone. What a time to be alive. Facetiousness aside, I want to touch upon the significance of putting 2000 at the end of this game's title, as it indicated that the developers were trying something new, something futuristic, something that would change video gaming as we know it. Now, of course, there were 3-dimensional first-person shooter games before this one, even on the Game Boy, but is a game that sticks firmly in the 4 cardinal directions truly what we mean when we think first-person shooter? Bionic Battler and Ray Thunder were excellent games in their own way, but we don't really house them under the same umbrella as a Doom or Wolfenstein 3D. What you really need for that sort of thing is freedom of rotation, to be able to maneuver outside the confines of 90-degree angles. To that end, one of the first games that really tried to do that was called MIDI Maze, which was later ported to the Super Nintendo and Game Boy as Faceball 2000. This was also the first game to feature multiplayer deathmatches, a video game subgenre that is wildly popular today and has been since the early 90s. You can do it on the Game Boy as well, with a ridiculous 16 players supported. Of course, it's no easy task to set up this monumental war. You need 16 consoles, 16 cartridges, and 7 of the 4-way link cables. Still, just take a second before I describe the game itself to comprehend just what an unbelievable feat that is, based on what we know about the Game Boy thus far. You play as a happy face, or holographically assisted physical pattern yielded for active computerized embarkation, whatever that means. The characters look like the have a nice day smiley faces popularized by such crazies as Mick Foley and the writers of The Watchmen. In fact, they're called SMILOIDS and come in a small handful of forms. Making your way through the mazes in the first game mode, Cyberscape, your aim on each stage is to take out as many other SMILOIDS as you can, while avoiding their attacks and finding your way to an exit. Various different SMILOIDS will accost you, starting with the pathetically weak Shoot Me and increasing in strength and danger from there. The walls are untextured and plain, but some are a different shade. These are doors that need to be shot out of the way. Other parts are flashing. These are generally the level's exit. One thing you'll notice straight away is that the frame rate is rather low and noticeably choppy. You'll have to be quite forgiving with the jagged feel of the movement, especially if you're accustomed to playing these sorts of games on high-end PCs or consoles. Just be reasonable with your expectations. You'll get used to it pretty quickly if you allow yourself to. At first, you'll breeze through the levels, but they're really only a training zone. The game gets plenty tough throughout the 75 levels you'll have to face. Many other gameplay elements, such as key cards and triggers, will crop up, creating more of a maze-like experience. Eventually, you'll come to what are called pods. These, more often than not, contain clues, not that they help a great deal, to what may be coming up, but sometimes you can pick up health bonuses, speed and armor increases, and something that allows you to fire more than one shot at a time. The music in-game is not too bad, but you'll grow weary of it as it never changes. The graphics, like I say, are not amazing in design, but certainly are in function. Take yourself back to a time before Doom, before the world of FPS saturation that we live in today, and realize just what a revelation this must have been. It's not flashy, but it was still such a cut above everything else that was around. The arena mode is the deathmatch that I mentioned earlier. You can choose how many enemies you want to face, what difficulty you want them to be, and what map to fight on, of which there are many. I'm not sure how much appeal this mode has playing on your own, really, as hunting down bots doesn't really have the same impact as seeking and destroying your mates, but there it is. This is the mode that sold the game, though. To be able to fight in a free-for-all with a group of friends was something of a radical idea for the time. A little before its time, perhaps. Could have been. It's pretty much the first existence of this sort of thing, and although it's not without its flaws, It helped to lay a foundation for what would become an absolutely massive thing in video gaming. Thanks so much for watching this video. The Kickstarter for the book is now live. Check the link in the description for how you can back the project and be the first to get your hands on the Portable Power Encyclopedia, featuring more than 900 Game Boy game reviews and a whole wealth of useful information on the world's favorite handheld console. See you later on.